Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, this is the world's cheapest 240SX turbo drift build. And I know that's a long name, and we will be changing that, but we cannot name it until we drive it. In the last video, we blew up the old turbo. This is a max speeding rod. Literally, there's no S. It's supposed to say speeding, I'm pretty sure. This thing is a pile of shit. Sometimes you get good ones, sometimes you get bad ones, but this is the example of a bad one. Something happened. I don't know what happened with the cartridge, but it became loose. There is severe play in the shaft here, so not exactly sure what happened to it, but that is what we're doing today. This is a 62 AR rear housing, and it is too small. I think it was choking down the engine, and that's why we were only making like 160 horsepower, and we should be making around like 230, 250. So I went out and I did the right thing, and I bought another Chinese turbo. Yes, I did. But this one has the correct spelling. It is an American Turbo Systems turbo, and I found these fittings we're going to use. And with this turbo, we picked up a 82 rear housing. Should let it breathe a little bit more. As you can tell, there's no wastegate on this one. So we also picked up a new wastegate. Let's open this thing up, see what we bought. It's a Rev 9. I think it's still just a knockoff. I'm not really sure. But it was the fastest shipping, so your boy bought it. I've got to tee into the heater core to get the coolant lines. The oil lines should swap directly over, so we shouldn't have any issues there. I think this fitting's still okay. Looking a little rough, but let's get the turbo lines swapped over. Let's get the rear housing on, get this thing mounted, and we'll move on to building a new exhaust. And after we do all that, hopefully we can get the car running. So let's get this thing installed. Let's get the rear housing on. Let's get the wastegate installed. We'll plumb it for coolant and the oil lines, and then we're gonna go drive it again. And hopefully, you know, it just works. I don't know what's going on with this car. Some cars you build, like my turbo D21 Yoshi. I built him for like $2,000 and turbocharged for like 2,500 bucks. And he has run for 3 years with no issues. And sometimes you get these ones where it just fights you every step of the way. I don't know. Let's get this installed. Get this thing on the track. Oh yeah. Also, in this video, we will be taking this car to the track. We've got the first practice session of Whiskey Garage Drift Series. That's out here at Suica Circuit, Sandia Speedway. If you're in the area, obviously you're not going to see this video before that event, but hey, it's fun. Come to the next one. First, we're going to remove the oil lines from the old turbo, install them on the new cartridge, get the rear housing on, and get this mounted and clocked in the correct position. So we're looking inside this plate right now, and it looks like something's clogging the oil feed. All right, so I just blew it out, and it's hard to see, but that little piece of metal was clogging the orifice, and that's why the cartridge failed. All right, we're gonna put the exhaust housing on first so I can actually get it torqued down. With the full turbo assembly on, there's just no way to get to the bolts, so we will get this torqued down and then slide the cartridge in, and we will go from there. Okay, let's get this thing in here. Hopefully we can reach all these bolts. Oh yeah, dude. All right. Had to completely take this thing apart down to the cartridge to get it in here, because little turbos are hard to work on. Okay. All right, so I think I got the right spring in here. I think it's just the 10-pound spring. The instructions are kind of shitty, and there's multiple models, and they really don't tell you what model it is. What are you gonna do? So let's get this thing in, and we'll start fabbing up some kind of downpipe here, and then we'll move on to the exhaust and the water lines, and then we can go test drive it. Now we're gonna have to bend up the wastegate downpipe. Right now the wastegate is just pointed directly at the firewall, so we are going to take our tube bender and some ridiculously thick tube, because that's all I have, to make the wastegate downpipe. And what we're gonna do is take this to 0, and we're gonna find out how far down we want to go, probably like 50 degrees, and we're going to want it about, yeah, 50 degrees at 4 inches from the center of the bend. So that will give us the kick, and then we'll just trim this side to fit, and we should be good to go. This is really not the pipe you want to use for this. It's really heavy, but it's so short that it'll be just fine. We're going to, this is our 5-inch here, and then we're going to probably make this about 10 from the center of the bend. And that'll get us below the car so that we don't smell any exhaust fumes. We got our flange and our 120 wall DOM roll cage tube. That will be our wastegate dump now. Not too shabby. Could have used a little bit more filler rod, but hey, whatever. We've been plumbing water lines, and it's been a nightmare, but we got them. I just tapped into the heater core, plumbed them in. I really need banjos for these so that we can have this a little bit easier to maintenance, but that's all I have for now. So we're going to move on to the exhaust. I have 90 degree and a flange. Get this thing welded together. I'm going to build a bracket from this mounting point to the top of the wastegate dump tube. We'll get the exhaust in, and did a pretty good job on that. I wasn't back purging it, so the welds have a little bit of shit in them. I mean, look at it. It's not that great anyway. It's just going to sound funny. Hopefully it still fits, right? Oh, like a glove, dude. So we got the downpipe on. I got it wrapped with some heat wrap, just because it's pretty close to the master cylinder. I got to build the bracket for the wastegate dump still. We still need to figure out the filter situation. It doesn't fit. So we got our wastegate bracket welded on just temporarily. We're going to have to pull it back out and finish weld that, but it's good for now. We're going to turn it over, see if we get oil pressure at the turbo, check fluids, bleed the system, and then take it for a test drive. Well, maybe not that much.
No, I mean, it fits right in there like it was meant to go. Fine.
Can't get the dash to work, so I don't know anything that's going on under the hood. I guess that's just how it's going to be for right now. Maybe once we get to the track, we can look at it. Hopefully everything works well and we don't have any problems. I'd be lying to you if we weren't a little stressed out. We had to pull the wastegate back apart, confirm we had the right spring in there, and we do. Now we're gonna use vacuum lines to open the wastegate, hopefully at like 10 pounds with some T's. You just put some T's in line and bleed off some pressure to the wastegate to hopefully open that thing up so we can actually drive the car, because we're only getting like 3,000 RPM until it boost cuts. And you can't drift like that. So hopefully we make this work and we go shred some tires. I got some vacuum line and we've got some T's, and we're gonna see if we can get this thing to not overboost. Hopefully this works, eh? All right, so we just went and did a couple of test pulls, didn't record it, but we were just below I think we were at like 10 pounds. This is in bar, so obviously I don't know the exact point right there. 8, now 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah, so we're at about 12 pounds. Oh, dude, look at that guy, dude.
Yeah, here you go.
All right, we gotta go do our figure eights to get our pass, and then we're going on track. I couldn't get the dash to work, so we're just running on the laptop, but this thing runs good. Check it out. So much traction! It's crazy! Alright, we put the bigger tires on. I think they're too big. It's unreal. Okay, sad day. Just got back off track. Same problem, pressurizing the coolant system. You can tell it's everywhere.
Just ejects that.
I asked Rhea if it was like one of those things where it could potentially just be an air bubble. It was not.
No air bubble, folks.
Head gasket. I guess you shouldn't use a framing square to measure the block. Make sure you cut it every once in a while because you don't want that leading edge to be rolled back and give you false information, right? All in all, we had a pretty good day. We got probably 2 sets of tires down and about 8 laps before that head gasket decided to leave on us. We're gonna head back, lick our wounds, get this thing ready for the next competition, and hopefully keep the head gasket in it. This time I might use a machined flat edge to get the squareness and the proper head gasket, and new ARP head studs might do us some good. So in the next video, we will most likely not be working on this car, but we will be getting it back on track to see what it can do.